There comes a moment in every life when silence becomes too loud to ignore. When the questions echo louder than the noise around you. Who am I? What am I doing? Why am I still here? Not physically, but mentally, spiritually, financially, emotionally. Why haven't I risen yet? And the answer, the raw, brutal, freeing answer is this. Because you haven't demanded more of yourself. Not asked, not hoped, not wished. Demanded. You don't become what you want. You don't become what you dream. You become what you refuse to live without. What you command from your body, your mind, your future. This world does not give you what's fair. It gives you what you insist upon. What you hunt without apology. What you sacrifice for while others sleep in comfort. You don't rise to your potential. You fall to the level of your standards. And your standards are forged by what you demand of yourself when no one else is watching. Look back, not with regret, with awareness. How many times did you settle? Not because you were weak, but because your inner voice whispered, "It's okay, this is enough, you've done well." But, well, is the enemy of great. Enough is the prison of purpose. Comfort is the thief of legacy. You were not born for just okay. You were born for impact, for fire, for more, and yet you hesitate to ask more of yourself because you're afraid of the cost. But let me be clear. Not demanding more of yourself has a cost too. The cost of regret. The cost of unlived potential. The cost of watching others rise while you stay waiting. Waiting for the right time. Waiting for the fear to leave. Waiting for permission. But no one is coming to save you. And no one is coming to push you. You must become the force that drives the hammer. You must be the standard bearer of your destiny. Edison didn't invent the light bulb by hoping it would work. He demanded a result. Through failure after failure, 10,000 times over. Carnegie didn't build an empire by asking if he was good enough. He decided he was, and he let his work prove it. Do you think Lincoln endured civil war because he was comfortable? No. He demanded unity when the world was split in two. Do you think Ford changed history because he was lucky? He commanded it into existence through vision, obsession, and the refusal to accept impossible. These men weren't chosen. They chose themselves. They chose to believe when no one else did. They chose to move when the path was uncertain. They chose to demand a reality that did not yet exist. And then become the type of person who could create it. And that is what separates the average from the architect. The drifter from the dominator. The dreamer from the builder. You don't get to live a life of meaning unless you're willing to demand more than comfort. More than ease. More than fine. The truth is, success doesn't respond to desire. It responds to discipline. Discipline is demanding action regardless of how you feel. Discipline is doing the work when it's raining, when it's late, when you're tired. Discipline is not some magical trait of the elite. It is a decision, a command from within. Do you demand greatness or not? Because if you don't, the world will never demand it for you. You will float. You will blend. You will die full of things you never gave yourself permission to extract. And that is not a life. That is a waste of power. You must look in the mirror and say, I will never lower my standards again. I will never make peace with mediocrity. I will never speak to myself in the language of fear. Your mind listens to every word you say, every goal you don't pursue, every compromise you justify, and it becomes your identity. So if you speak like a victim, you become one. If you act like a coward, you become one. If you demand greatness, you rise to meet it. That's not motivation. That's identity. You want to change your life? Change what you expect from yourself, and then demand relentlessly that your actions match those expectations. Everything you touch begins in the space between your ears. You want to change your future? Then change your beliefs, because your beliefs build your limits. You will never outperform your own identity. You will never exceed the story you've accepted as true. If deep down you still believe you're average, if deep down you think success belongs to other people, if deep down you believe you're unworthy of greatness, then no matter how much you hustle, you will find a way to sabotage your progress. Why? Because the mind must stay congruent with the image it holds of itself. If you think you're small, you'll shrink. If you think you're cursed, you'll stop seeking blessings. If you think life is random, you'll never take control of your destiny. So here is the truth. Before you can demand more of yourself, you must believe you are worthy of more. Not in a soft, self-help way, but with fire in your gut and steel in your voice. I am the one. I will rise. I don't need permission. I need no applause. I demand results because I've decided to become the kind of person who delivers them. That shift, right there, is the most dangerous decision in the world. Because once you believe in your power, no one can stop you. Belief gives birth to clarity. Clarity is the seed of power. And power, real power, is having a vision so clear, it blinds you to distraction. Clarity is not optional. It is oxygen for a builder. You must know what you want. You must see it so vividly that it haunts you in your sleep. So clearly that the world's noise fades into irrelevance. Ask yourself, what do you stand for? What would you die to create? What do you refuse to leave this earth without building? Vague dreams create vague results. But precise vision? It rewires your brain, reconstructs your routines, and sets fire to every excuse you've ever used. Look at the great ones, every single one of them. Walt Disney envisioned Disneyland long before it existed. He sketched it, walked through it in his mind, lived it before he ever built it. Andrew Carnegie wrote down the exact fortune he'd create, then reverse-engineered the man who would be capable of that fortune. Napoleon Hill himself was given a 20-year challenge by Carnegie. Prove to the world that anyone with belief and vision can become unstoppable. And he did. He didn't guess. He didn't dabble. He didn't hope. He decided. The world bows to those who live with decision. When you become a person of vision, you stop negotiating with laziness. You stop chasing 100 things and master one. You stop worrying what people think and start demanding alignment between your actions and your purpose. This is why most people drift, because they've never taken the time to define what they stand for. So the world defines it for them. Your job is to be the architect, not the tenant. Your job is to choose, not wait to be chosen. Your job is to wake up with fire because you've finally declared, this is the mountain I will die climbing, and nothing will move me from it. That's clarity. That's power. That's what it means to demand a destiny that matches your soul. But clarity without purpose is like fire without direction. It burns everything, but builds nothing. So I ask you, who will benefit if you win? If you rise, who else rises? If you build, who else eats? If you speak, who else wakes up? This isn't just about you. Purpose is when your ambition becomes service. When your success becomes significance. You want to be relentless? Then tie your drive to something greater than your ego. The man who fights for himself gets tired, but the one who fights for his mission, he becomes immortal. You become what you demand, but demand must come from identity. Identity must be rooted in belief. Belief must be backed by vision, and vision must be driven by purpose. Now we forge into the next wave: discipline, daily demand, and the sacred act of turning ambition into execution. Discipline is the altar where dreams are sacrificed for results. The holy ground where emotion bows before execution. The world tells you to feel inspired. I'm telling you to become undeniable. Because inspiration fades. Feelings betray you. But discipline? Discipline is the forge where champions are born. Do you think greatness is convenient? Do you think the mornings where Kobe laced up at 4 a.m. felt good? Do you think the nights where Edison toiled with failure number 4,999 were exciting? Do you think Carnegie was in the mood every day to deal with the weight of an empire? No, but they did it anyway. Because discipline is not about mood. It's about identity. It's about saying, this is who I am now. This is what I do. This is non-negotiable. The reason most people never change is not because they don't want it. It's because they still give themselves options. They still allow negotiation with weakness. They still give fear a microphone. They still let, I don't feel like it, win. But the day you demand more of yourself, that's the day you kill that voice. That's the day you stop being a slave to your lower self and start becoming a servant to your higher calling. That's the day you build rituals that match your vision. Because your rituals are the soil of your future. How you wake up, what you feed your mind, who you allow in your circle, the words you speak, the thoughts you entertain. Every piece of your day is either building your empire or eroding it. You don't need motivation when you have structure. You don't need hype when you've built momentum. You don't need to chase opportunity when you've become the kind of person that creates it. Every rep, every hour, every decision. You are either training your future self or betraying them. Think about that. What version of you will receive the consequences of today's choices? You're not just living for the now. You're building for the next you, the $1,000,000 you, the world-changing you, the version that walks into a room and changes it with presence alone. But that version is expensive, and discipline is the currency. So you want to build an unbreakable life? Start with one sacred vow. I will do what needs to be done, whether I feel like it or not. I will move forward every single day, regardless of outcome, applause, or emotion. I will act like the person I want to become before I see the results. Because results don't create belief. Belief creates results. And action is how you prove belief. Action is how you rewire the nervous system. Action is how you assassinate the weak identity. Action is how you build the future version. One brick, one breath, one promise kept. And here's the beauty of it. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. You just have to refuse to stop. You just have to move forward while others freeze. You just have to rise at dawn while others sleep in mediocrity. You just have to show up again and again and again. Until one day, you wake up and the pain is replaced by peace. The doubt is replaced by certainty. The discipline is no longer a chore. It's your way of life. You're not faking it anymore. You've become it. Because you demanded it. Because you paid for it. With sacrifice, with sweat, with unwavering integrity. Discipline is freedom. It's the quiet confidence of a person who knows they've earned their life. It's the difference between sleep filled with regret and rest earned through relentless work. Now we transition into gratitude, adaptability, and the warrior mindset required to walk through chaos without losing the crown. Gratitude is not weakness. Gratitude is not passivity. Gratitude is the warrior's shield. It's the defiance of scarcity in a world that preaches lack, while the world screams you're behind. Gratitude whispers, you're becoming, while envy poisons the soul. Gratitude grounds it. It says, I am thankful not because I've arrived, but because I've survived, because I've started, because I still have breath. And while I breathe, I build. Gratitude doesn't mean you stop wanting more. It means you're no longer blind to what you already have. And when you recognize the blessings in your hands, you multiply their power. Because a grateful person doesn't waste. A grateful person doesn't complain. A grateful person turns a seed into a forest. Because they see value before the world sees proof. And now, listen closely. If you want to rise, you must become adaptable. Success is not a straight line. It's not a clean staircase. It's war. It's chaos. It's a forest fire, and the map changes every hour. The weak cling to plans. The strong adapt to reality. When Thomas Edison's lab burned to the ground, he didn't cry. He said, all our mistakes have been burned up. Now we can start fresh. And he rebuilt. That is power. Not because he had comfort, but because he had adaptability. You can scream about how unfair life is. Or you can train yourself to become unshakable. You can curse the wind. Or you can learn to sail. You can panic at closed doors. Or you can build your own damn key. The future belongs to those who move. Not just when it's easy, but when everything is on fire. Adaptability is not survival. It's evolution. It's how your old identity dies. And your higher self takes the throne. Your habits will break. Your plans will fail. People you love may walk away. The world will not ask for permission before it tests you. So what will you do? Will you shatter like glass? Or bend like steel? Will you mourn the old world? Or build the new one? Will you let adversity harden your heart? Or sharpen your focus? This is where most give up. They say, it's too hard. It's not fair. It's not what I expected. But those who rise, they welcome the storm. They expect resistance. They laugh in the face of chaos because they know, this is the fire that will shape my future crown. And that mindset, that calm in the storm, that certainty in the unknown, that refusal to flinch, that is the warrior's mind. The warrior does not ask, is this easy? He asks, Is this required? The warrior does not wonder if he's worthy. He becomes worthy through relentless action. The warrior does not fear failure, because every fall is part of the forging. You want to build an empire? Then prepare for war. But understand, the first battlefield is you. Conquer the noise. Silence the fear. Rise with resolve. And declare, I am not a product of my past. I am the architect of my future. I do not run from pressure. I become pressure. And I demand nothing less than excellence from myself, for myself, because of myself. This is the root of transformation. And now, we drive this all the way to the end, into the final storm, where resilience, mastery, and the climactic becoming ignite. No more waiting. No more silence. No more halfway living. This is the final fire. The forge of resilience, the crucible of mastery, and the unstoppable transformation into who you were born to be. Resilience is the soul's refusal to die. It is not the absence of pain. It is the decision that pain will not have the final word. Every setback you've faced, every betrayal, every silent night you cried with no one watching, that was not your breaking. That was your becoming. Resilience is forged in those invisible hours. When no one claps, when no one sees, when the world moves on and you're still standing with nothing but your own breath and belief. It's when you whisper, I don't care how long it takes. I don't care who doubts me. I don't care if I have to rebuild 1,000 times. I will not quit. That's the moment your DNA changes. That's the moment the universe leans in and says, now you're ready. Because the universe does not reward wishes. It rewards warriors. Resilience is not just enduring the storm. It's becoming the storm. It's rising from every fall and saying, you hit me hard. But you didn't hit me empty. I learned. I adapted. I sharpened. You taught me who I am. And now, I come back dangerous. Resilience is what makes success inevitable. Because it turns every failure into fuel. It turns every delay into discipline. It turns every loss into leverage. You're not losing. You're loading. And one day, when it all aligns, the world will ask, how did you get here? And all you'll say is, because I refuse to leave. Now, let's talk about mastery. Mastery isn't talent. It's obsession. It's not natural ability. It's deliberate brutality. The daily, disciplined destruction of weakness. The slow, sacred sharpening of one craft. One skill. One edge. Until your entire existence becomes a weapon of excellence. The world is full of dabblers, of almosts and used to bests. But the masters? They are rare, because they choose to go deeper than everyone else. They do not chase a million things. They chase one thing for 1,000,000 hours. They fall in love with repetition. They romance the process. They sacrifice applause today for dominance tomorrow. Mastery is not a goal. It's a lifestyle. You must marry your craft, sleep with your vision, bleed for your obsession. And if you do, the world will bow. So here we are. Everything that came before, the belief, the identity, the vision, the purpose, the discipline, the adaptability, the resilience, the mastery, it all leads to this final truth. You become what you demand of yourself, not what you wish, not what you talk about, not what you write on your vision board and hope the universe drops into your lap. What you demand. Demand with action. Demand with standards. Demand with conviction that does not blink, does not bow, and does not break. The mediocre demand nothing and receive less. But you are not here to blend. You are here to break the pattern. You are here to speak life into your bones, to resurrect your purpose, to chase the highest version of yourself until your lungs collapse in triumph. You are here to build your empire, from bricks made of fire, forged in discipline, sealed with vision, and crowned by belief. And when they ask you who you are, you won't answer with words. You'll answer with your life. So stand tall, look in the mirror, and declare it now. This is who I am. I become what I demand of myself, and I demand everything. Now go, and build what they said was impossible, because now, you've become unstoppable.